Hey, what's up everybody, and welcome back to News Dose. So yesterday we did have that Sony PlayStation State of Play where they had several games to announce, some of which was a little surprising. I don't know if this event was particularly what a lot of us were maybe hoping for, but even then there were some pretty cool announcements here made, so we're going to talk about that later on in the video. And then also Xbox just revealed a new event themselves that will be making its debut later this month, and I think Xbox Game Pass subscribers are definitely going to want to tune in for this event. So we're going to talk about that one as well. As always though, if you enjoyed the video, make sure to hit that bell notification and subscribe button. Also hit that like button because it does help out the channel a ton, and it really is greatly appreciated. But nonetheless, let's go and jump right into the video. First up, we do have an update on the upcoming Dead Space remake that almost makes it seem like EA is actually learning from some of their mistakes. Now, we'll kind of get into that here in just a moment, but according to the VentureBeat journalist Jeff Grubb, he did state that EA has internally decided to delay the Dead Space remake until early 2023. According to him, they were originally considering an October 2022 release, but went ahead and decided to internally delay this game so they can give it the extra time to ensure it gives the game enough time to, in his words, wow fans when it returns. And honestly, that sounds pretty good to me because it's almost like EA is actually learning from some of their past mistakes. I mean, if you just rewind like 5 months ago, here you have Battlefield 2042, which launched in a state that was clearly not ready simply because EA wanted to get it out for those holiday sales. But now they're kind of seeing that was a bad idea. That game is not doing very well, and it doesn't look like they're going to repeat that mistake with the Dead Space remake. And that's a really good sign that they are putting the quality of this game first and foremost. And I think that's what we're kind of all hoping for right now. The Dead Space remake has a lot of potential because really the original, I think a lot of us would kind of consider that an all-time great within the horror genre. And we've seen what Capcom can do with the remakes for the Resident Evil franchise. So maybe EA can do something like that for Dead Space here as well. That's what we're kind of all hoping for. So yeah, just take your time and make this into the best possible game that you can. Now, we also finally got an update on Overwatch 2. It's really been a while since we've heard much from Overwatch at all, whether it be with the original game or with the sequel here. And they did post a video today apologizing for that and basically vowed from this point forward, we're going to get a lot more communication when it comes to Overwatch. And that is going to start real soon. And the reason for that is because there will be a playable beta. It is a closed beta, but it is going to be playable late April. I will leave a link in the description below so you can sign up, but yes, it is going to be playable next month, and this does include quite a bit of new content. Of course, Overwatch 2 will be making that transition to 5 versus 5 gameplay. I will be interested to see how this works because the thing about Overwatch is it's such a team-driven game. So with 5 versus 5, you're going to have one less teammate, and I mean, that's always the thing that people complain about. So I'm hopeful that 5 versus 5 will be a good change here. This will also include a new hero being Sojourn, though interestingly enough in the video they did seem to tease more new heroes for the launch of Overwatch 2. So this does sound like it's going to be a legitimate sequel with a beefy update, and that includes several hero reworks. They did note Orisa, Doomfist, Bastion, and Sombra will all be getting a rework. Sombra is actually one of my favorite and most played characters in Overwatch, so I'm very hopeful that they do some good work with her. But nonetheless, they also have a new game mode being pushed, 4 new maps, and it will also include a new ping system, which is really nice for, again, such a team-driven game. This is sounding really exciting, though. I'm actually a huge fan of Overwatch, and it's probably my most played game last generation. Both my wife and I absolutely love this game, so I'm really excited to play this one myself, and the fact that we're going to be able to play this one next month in late April, if I'm lucky enough to actually get into that beta, yeah, things are really getting exciting for the Overwatch community. Let's have a little fun with this one, though. If you actually play Overwatch, let me know in the comments below what your main is and what are you hoping that they do with Overwatch 2. For me, it's Diva and Sombra all the way, but I play a lot of other characters as well. But let me know some of your favorites in the comments below. Let's go ahead and talk about Xbox though, because Sony is not the only one that planned a new event for the month of March. Xbox, in fact, just announced a brand new event for March 16th that I think Xbox Game Pass subscribers specifically are going to want to pay attention to. This is coming from ID at Xbox, which will be partnering up with Twitch Gaming once again to showcase various independent games. Based off the graphic that they posted, this will include games such as There Is No Light, the highly anticipated Tunic, which is actually releasing the same day, and I mean, mean, fans have been waiting for that one for years and years. And then also Trek to Yomi, which is a day one Xbox Game Pass release. Now, that is the thing about this particular event, because if you are an Xbox Game Pass subscriber, there's probably going to be news here that will be very interesting to you. Last year, when ID at Xbox partnered up with Twitch Gaming to do an event like this, they revealed more than 60 games at that event, 20 of which launched directly into Xbox Game Pass. So yeah, do absolutely expect a lot of different Xbox Game Pass games to be announced on March 16th. And as always, I'm going to keep you updated on all of that. And that's kind of the thing about this event, because this event last year was really long. If I remember right, it was like 3+ hours long, and there was a lot of talking, a lot of interviews, and it was kind of poorly paced. So I'm hoping that with this event here, they kind of change the format and make it work a little bit more fluidly. But either way, I'm going to go in and watch it, and even if you miss it, I'm going to keep you updated on all the information that happens there at that ID at Xbox event, because I absolutely do expect a lot of games here to be announced, a lot of interesting games for that matter, and especially when it comes to Xbox Game Pass, I think we're going to get a big Xbox Game Pass update in just 6 days from now. I mean, if you like Game Pass, definitely tune in for March 16th and March 17th, and I'll update you on all of what happens there at that ID at Xbox event. Let's go and talk about that PlayStation State of Play. Now, I don't know if this event was maybe what fans were hoping for. There's always that hope for at least one huge announcement, and I don't know if we necessarily got that. But at the same time, there was still some pretty cool games that was shown here, so we're going to go over all of the different games that was revealed here at that PlayStation State of Play, starting off with a new Capcom game being Exoprimal. Now, this was a bit of a strange one, and what I mean by that is it almost felt like Capcom was trolling a little bit here, because it kind of started off with these dinosaurs falling out of the sky, and they're being fought off by these mech-like characters. And okay, that's cool and everything, but then all of a sudden they show this female character that has this reddish pink hair. And now, I don't know about you, but when you think about a Capcom game that has dinosaurs and a female character that has red pinkish like hair, what game do you think about? Of course, it's the game that fans have been asking Capcom to bring back for years and years, and that would be Dino Crisis. And, well, instead of Dino Crisis, we got this game here being Exoprimal, and I'm not sure if it's going to create the same type of buzz per se, but nonetheless, Exoprimal is a new IP coming from Capcom, and it will be releasing sometime next year in 2023. Then they went on to show Ghostwire Tokyo yet again. Of course, this game will be releasing later this month on March 25th, and it does continue to look like a very good game, very creative in terms of its combat. Then they showed Stranger of Paradise Final Fantasy Origins. That will be receiving a demo. You can actually play that one right now. So maybe if you're a little bit on the fence, you can go check out Final Fantasy Origin. We also got a gameplay update for Forspoken. Unfortunately, earlier this week, we did hear that it was going to be delayed till October 11th to kind of polish up some of the details for this game. But in terms of gameplay, it is looking pretty solid. It does remind me a lot of Final Fantasy 15, which is kind of a given considering it is made by the same studio here. It's very flashy, but I am interested in this one, and I'm hopeful that it will turn out to be a good game when it does release later this year on October 11th. They also showed Gundam Evolution, which if you like the Gundam franchise, that's pretty cool. Though interestingly enough, they did show that this one was kind of a first-person shooter, so we'll see how all that works out. One of the big surprises here, though, was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the Cowabunga Collection. This is a Konami game, and I know we don't really hear much about Konami anymore, but they are working with Nickelodeon here to bring back Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in this really good-looking collection here. It includes 13 different games such as Turtles in Time, there's the Manhattan Project, Tournament Fighters, you also have the Hyperstone Heist, Fall of the Foot Clan, Back from the Sewers, and the list just kind of goes on and on. And one of the cool things about this is that it will include both a physical retail edition as well as a digital version for $40. Yeah, that's 13 games, several of which are beloved titles for $40, and you can get a physical version. Yeah, this quietly might have been one of the better announcements of the night. Continuing on, they also announced JoJo's Bizarre Adventure All-Star Battle R, which will be releasing fall of 2022. This is a fighting game that has more than like 50 characters in it, so quite a bit of content, and I have seen some excitement for this one here. They also announced an independent game here by the name of Trek to Yomi, and this is an interesting one for multiple reasons, really. One, it does have a pretty unique and interesting art style, but also this one is releasing directly into Xbox Game Pass day one this spring of 2022, so it was a little surprising to see it pop up over here at the PlayStation State of Play event, but it is a good looking game, and I can definitely understand that. Nonetheless, I mean, Xbox Game Pass is getting another day one release, so keep an eye out for that one if you are an Xbox Game Pass subscriber. They then revealed a free Returnal update, which includes cooperative gameplay, which I think that is going to be an absolute blast considering the arcade nature of Returnal, and the gameplay is a lot of fun in general, so that is really cool to see. But then it will also be including a survival mode being Ascension. So if you do like Returnal, you can jump back into that later this month on March 22nd. Yeah, this is just a couple of weeks away. And then last but not least, we have two different Square Enix titles here. Now, I know a lot of people were kind of hoping for Final Fantasy 16. We didn't get that, but at the same time, they did announce a new tactical RPG that will be releasing later this year. And when I first saw this trailer, I was just kind of waiting for them to announce this as Final Fantasy Tactics, which is a game that fans have been asking to return for years and years, kind of like Dino Crisis, but this was not Final Fantasy Tactics. This is actually a brand new IP being the DioField Chronicle. I was a little surprised by that, but this game still does look interesting, and I am glad to see Square Enix kind of release more of these tactical RPGs once again. Historically, they've done a good job with this genre, and I mean, we're seeing that even here recently with something like Triangle Strategy. This one, though, has more of the modern-day visuals, kind of reminding me a little bit of something like Fire Emblem Three Houses, but hopefully this one is as good as it looks. And then for the final reveal, Square Enix decided to go back to their back catalog here with Valkyrie Elysium. This is a new installment to the Valkyrie Profile series, which actually first appeared for the original PlayStation back in 1999. So this is kind of a nostalgic announcement here, and it's definitely going to bring some excitement if you played the original Valkyrie Profile, though this one is more of an action-driven RPG. Obviously, it's been 23 years since Valkyrie Profile came out, and Square Enix, they do typically focus on action RPGs a little bit more now, so this isn't really overly surprising, but it is nice to see Square Enix just kind of continue bringing back some of these old franchises that made them so popular in the first place back in the 1990s. However, Valkyrie Elysium will be releasing later this year for the PlayStation 5, PlayStation 4, and PC. And actually about that, if you are wondering about what platforms all these games are available for, I'm going to go ahead and put a list up on screen right here. This was made by Destin over on Twitter, and I'll show you all of the platforms that all these games are available for. Let's go and take a look at the poll of the day, though, and since we're talking about the PlayStation State of Play, as always, I wanted to get your all's thoughts about this event, and I asked you all, what letter grade would you give PlayStation State of Play on March 9th of 2022? And as you can see here, only 4% of you gave it an A, 8% of you gave it a B, 38% being the majority of you all gave it a C, 21% of you gave it a D, and then 29%, that is a lot as well, gave it an F. So it really seems like the majority of you all believe that this was either an average event or even below average, and only a few of you all thought it was actually good. And I'm usually optimistic myself, but I'm with you all on this one. I felt like that this was a below average event. Immediately as soon as this event was over, I was just kind of thinking that was it, because it really didn't have any type of big announcement. There was some interesting games here nonetheless, but it really seemed like that it was for a limited market for the most part, and it was just missing that just one big game that was going to just kind of leave you really impressed. Now, to be clear, I think that there were some pretty interesting games here. They did announce the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Cowabunga Collection. I probably will be buying that physical version. Then there was the DioField Chronicle. That one has me intrigued, at least. And then even with Valkyrie Elysium, it is kind of cool to see that franchise come back. But none of those made me just walk away and say, yeah, I absolutely need to play that game right now. That's what you kind of hope for when it comes to an event, that there's going to be that one, at least one game that really just blows you away, and I did not get that from this event, and I kind of walked away, and I said this on Twitter, but it was actually probably one of the most disappointing events that I can recall. Now, that's just my opinion, and I know that there's going to be some people out there that enjoyed this event as well. Like I said, there was a few interesting games here, but I felt like a lot of the announcements at this event would have been better paired off being stuck between some bigger announcements, and I just don't feel like we got that big announcement at this particular event. I mean, it is what it is, and I know Sony has some other games in development, so hopefully we'll get another event sometime here soon, maybe a little bit bigger this time, but hopefully we won't have to wait too long for an event like that. Anyways, though, that's it for this episode, but if you liked the video, don't forget to bell notification and subscribe button for more content just like this. Also, if you'd like to support the channel through Patreon, thank you for making this content possible. Peace out.